Alright, welcome back to Dino World Dinopedia. Today we're going to be talking about the Ankylosaurus. So of course the schedule as always is we're going to talk about the Ankylosaurus from Ark Survival, we're going to talk about tips and tricks, potential add-ons, and reworking from a new game, Dino World. Let's get into it. So first we have the Ankylo from Ark Survival Ascended. Description, obviously it's an animal, so Kingdom Animalia. Group Reptilian because it's a lizard. Description is Battle Dome because it has a domed back with shells and spikes on it. Traits are it's slow walking, has a slow movement speed, armored backside as always has a giant shell, and knockout club tail attack, with its knockout club tail right here. So it stacks from Ark Survival Ascended, health 700, stamina 175, oxygen 150, most land animals have an oxygen of 150, food and water 3000 each, weight 250, melee 50, swimming speed is 3 meters per second, so it can swim faster than it walks at a speed of 1.2 meters per second, and torpor is 420. So when comparing Ark Survival Evolved and Ark Survival Ascended's Ankylo, there's really no difference, so I'm going to compare it to the Jurassic World Evolution 2 Ankylo. As you can see, the Ark Survival Ankylo has more detail than the Jurassic World one does. It has back spikes as opposed to the Jurassic World one, which doesn't really have that much back spikes. And I think the Ark one looks a little bit better. So utilities, tips about the Ankylo from Ark. Number one, a metal carrier carries metal at a rate of 65% reduction. So it carries metal 15% of its actual weight. And it is also a resource tank. It can carry resources at 10 to 25% their weight capacity, meaning you can carry a lot of resources. So for thatch, mutagel, stone, silicate, and wood, you can carry triple the amount of those. For sap, sulfur, metal, element shard, oil, and obsidian, you can carry it at ×4 the rate. And for metal is obviously a little bit bigger now, but rare flour, flint, crystal, and rare mushrooms, you can carry ×8 their normal capacity. So obviously there's some tricks you can use for this. Obviously there's the offensive tank, can use their secondary tail attack to knock out attacking creatures for a little bit. Mega chest, use an Ankylo to store a large amount of different resources. The fact that it's a resource tank, you can just use it as a better chest. I mean, obviously there's the industrial chest, which is the best chest in Ark, but I think using an Ankylo for a chest is much better because it can carry more and it can move, so it's like a moving chest. And 3, resource transport, can swim really well even when encumbered and can transfer resources from A to B if not too far away. So it can't walk as fast, but obviously you can carry it with other tames, so obviously you can just carry it with like an Argentavis or just put it on a Titanosaur. And obviously if you have a Titanosaur, I don't know why you're using an Ankylo, because a Titanosaur has unbelievable weight, pretty much infinite weight. But if you don't have one, just use an Argentavis to pick it up and carry it places, because it's basically like a mega chest. So potential add-ons I can see, number 1, armor shell. Attacks on the shell part of the hitbox only deals 10 to 15 damage with the original damage. I don't know why this isn't a thing in the game, because the Ankylo's main quality is the fact that if you hit it with its shell, you don't really do any damage to it because it's all bone. So I feel like if you did hit it on the armor shell, it shouldn't do that much damage, if not at all. It shouldn't do any damage, but I mean, obviously if you hit it with an RPG on the shell, it's got to do some damage. So I think it should just do 10 to 15, a reduction of 85 to 90 damage if it hits the shell. And also defensive position, can roll into a lump on the ground and to give the dino a 90% damage resistance. Basically makes the entirety of the Ankylo 90% damage reduction if you hit any of it, because it is rolled into a bony lump. So now let's move on to Dino World. We talked about the Ark Survival Evolved Ankylo. This is the Dino World model that we're going to be using. So obviously it looks somewhat similar, but there's more spikes on the tail, and there's bigger vertical spikes rather than horizontal spikes. So I think the Ark one looks better, but then again, Ark is a very detailed game, and it is very hard to match Ark, especially with an indie development company. So the Ankylo Dino World, there's a normal Ankylo, a wild or tamed Dino, and then there's the mutated Ankylo, the product of 2 tamed Ankylos plus a gene computer. The traits in Ankylo, of course, it's an Animalia, it's a reptilian, and it is a battle dome with the mini-meat and Denverosaurus in its class as well. So nothing has changed that much from the Ankylo stats. The only thing is that we've made it slower because the Ankylos are slow-moving creatures, so we did make it slower from the Ark Survival Ascended. As you can see, instead of 1.2 meters per second, it's just 1 meter per second, so it is slower, but not that much slower. So additional traits, we keep the armor shell, meaning that if you hit it, then it does only like 90 to 85 less damage, and we also keep defensive position, which means you can roll into that lump, so it has 90% resistance anyway, no matter where you hit it. We also add metal harvest. When harvesting metal nodes with an Ankylo, which you can do in Ark as well, you gain ×2 metal with a chance of gaining a ×3 metal bonus. That means instead of, let's say you hit a metal node and it gives you 4 metal with using a pickaxe. If you use an Ankylo, you have a chance of getting ×8. You have a chance of getting 8 metal pieces instead of 4, and if you hit it constantly and consistently, you may get a ×3 rare metal bonus of getting 12 pieces per swing. And then ability Whacktail. When in combat, wind up and swing your Ankylo's tail, powering up and knocking out and knocking back an attacking creature. It's pretty effective. If you wind it up, it does more damage, and of course you can knock out a creature for a little bit of time, because of course you're not just, when you're winding up, you're not just powering up your attack, but also the amount of torpor you'll do. And if you don't know what the torpor stat works, basically it's just how much it takes to knock out that dinosaur, and torpor attacks basically knock out or poison a dinosaur. An Ankylo's tail attack deals torpor to a dinosaur because it is basically trying to knock out the dinosaur that's attacking it. So if you wind up your tail attack, you're not only boosting the damage, but also boosting the amount of torpor, giving it a greater chance to knock out the dinosaur that you're attacking, and also you're going to knock back it regardless. So now, finally, we look at dino spawns in the main map of Europa. As we talked about before, the color blue is guaranteed, green very likely, yellow few to likely, orange is rare, red is very rare, and then purple is dead. So the main biomes for Ankylosauruses are going to be rocky mountainous biomes. So we have the Volcano Bay area in yellow, so few to likely, and on the beaches of the Volcano Bay, as it's going to be cliff sides. The biomes for that I've decided, I actually have it down here. So in the very likely category, we have cliff sides. So it's very likely to find Ankylosauruses near cliff sides. So near the ridge on this island here, the cliff sides surrounding Volcano Bay, and the cliff sides surrounding the Snowy Mountains are very likely to find Ankylos. Few to likely you can find in Volcano Bay, and rarely you can find them in the Snowy Mountains. But then again, still, if you just walk around the Snowy Mountains or walk around Volcano Bay or go to the cliffside mountain range on the little island down here, you can find them very, very likely. Alright, and that's going to be the end of the video. As always, like if you like, dislike if you don't, subscribe if you like it, comment down below your thoughts, and of course, everyone have a blessed day, and of course, as always, toodaloo.